We haven't gone live yet. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Live yet. I'll let you know. Okay, we're going live now. Okay, just give me one more minute. And of course, when I download this, I'm going to clip everything. So all this will be out of the way. I just have one more step. I miss Jim. Jim used to be our technical director. He's not with us anymore. Okay. Shut this. Shut this. Okay. I'm watching us live. Okay. Welcome to RenéMarie Stroke of Luck. I'm RenéMarie, and of course, this is going to be an extraordinary show. We're doing a special broadcast today for many, many, many reasons. One of the reasons is because one of our board members and really very special individual, Diane Bromberg from the Senior Resource Group of New Jersey, she has a group that is extraordinary. Each person that I meet in that group is so giving and loving and just does things from the bottom of their hearts. And when Linda and I met and we communicated, she was unable to broadcast on a Sunday. So we definitely always want to service everybody and just accommodate everybody to be a guest in our show, because our show is really important and we want to have different variety of people on, and especially to support Diane and her group and her wonderful members. Linda and Kathleen work for Visiting Angels. We're going to talk about that much more in depth through this conversation. But I do want to give thanks to Ginny for all the back end work that she does. Everybody knows that Judy Marlowe used to be the booking agent, and Judy retired because after 10 years she was very tired of doing it. It's a lot of work. Ask Ginny. It's a lot of repetitive, booking and changing, and actually unmute yourself, Ginny, because we did make a slight change to our scheduling. Ginny, tell them a little bit about it. We have the comedy show coming up on October 3rd. All the sponsors are incredible. Sunday, we're doing a special broadcast with just the sponsors to showcase each sponsor individually, and they're just a gift. They're a part of Diane's group, and once again, I just can't tell you how grateful we are to them. But we did slightly change our scheduling Ginny, go ahead, feed into
We
it a little
were
bit.
we do a telethon every year. And that's when I first met Renee. I don't know, like 400 years ago, I think.
It feels like
It
400
seems
years
like
ago.
2 years. It seems like 50 years. And we were going to do the telethon in October, but it was so close to the comedy special that we decided to postpone. Or then we were going to November, and then but you're doing a holiday show the beginning of December 14th. So we decided to combine the telethon and the holiday show. There's usually music and, we have some speakers and it's a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll have Dr. Libman, who's a neurologist for Northwell Medical Group.
Yeah,
He always has some good information for us and some of our new people and some of our older guests that always come back with us with great information.
yeah. I mean, if you look at our file, I'm really proud of it. And I'm very happy and grateful for everybody that has spent their time. We've had a one, I'm not that it's over, but up until now, we've had a wonderful ride with many, many people. And actually I think the first 5 or 6 years was really all about Long Island. Long Island welcomes me with open arms. And now, after COVID, when I had to come back and stayed here, because every week I traveled to Long Island. So it was a roller coaster going to Long Island every week. So that's
Yeah.
a whole different,
It was live in studio.
live in studio.
Those shows, yeah.
But
And
we transitioned.
Renee was amazing when COVID hit and we couldn't do it in a studio, the telethon. She overnight converted her garage into this lovely little studio and just like on a split second, nothing slows Renee
Oh
down.
my
She
God,
just
it was crazy.
pushed
Anyway,
forward. It was great.
yeah. Yeah, but that's everybody, right? And that feeds right into this show because Linda and Kathleen are just gifts to the work that they do. And I'm going to let them feed into it a little bit to share a little bit of start out with this, both of you. Start out with where you grew up and what you did as a child. Like give us some back information on, your early ages. So Kathleen, go first for
Sure.
us.
So I grew up in North Jersey, Wayne, New Jersey. I'm a Wayne girl. I moved down the shore at some point, lived there for about 3 years, and missed Wayne, even though I love the beach, and I came back. My family is here. My mom and dad are still here in Wayne. My sister's here with my nephew, and I am here with my husband and 2 children. My children are, I have one in college. Her name is Shannon Rose, and
Oh,
she
nice
goes to the
name.
college. I
That's
didn't
like
name
the
her after the
restaurant.
pub.
That's like the restaurant, right?
That's
Don't we
right.
have
But
a Shannon Rose up there?
yes, yes,
Yes,
I named her
amazing.
first. I named her first. And my son is a senior in high school. So I am a North Jersey girl, a Wayne girl. I loved growing up in Wayne, New Jersey. I loved all my friends. I was always running around in my neighborhood. Um, and then went to school at William Patterson. I stayed in Wayne
Wow, wow, wow.
and went for nursing.
My
Yes.
my my daughter went to. My daughter's 30. Oh my God, I can't even keep track anymore. She was born in 88. So
Yes.
she's what, 25, 35, I don't even know, 35,
Oh,
37, somewhere around there. So she
right.
went to William Patterson also. She went to William Patterson. It's a great college.
It really is. And it's so nice that it's right here,
Yeah, yeah.
and went to the nursing program there. So my nursing degree really took me a long way. I'm a nurse now for 29 years.
Wow, wow.
So,
Let me ask you something.
sure.
I'll ask you in a little bit. Just think about this
Yeah.
though. Why did you choose nursing? Don't tell us now.
Okay.
But I'm very interested in that because we all have different paths why
That's
we
right.
got to this
Hmm.
this section of our life. But let's let Linda share a little bit about where her backdrop. Ginny, I'm going to ask you too for our new audience. What your backdrop and how you got involved. So go ahead, Linda.
Okay. I grew up in Hawthorne. My parents immigrated from Germany when they were in their 20s. So yeah, we're both from Hawthorne. And they met here. They, didn't know each other until they got here. And so they bought a house in Hawthorne, and then we bought another house in Hawthorne. So we moved to different parts of the town. But I also had a really great experience with, Hawthorne and growing up there. we had a whole community of friends. We would run wild in the neighborhood and play till dark. And, it was really a good upbringing. I had a great upbringing, great parents, really loved them and they loved us, took good care of us. And it was a really nice experience.
It was. I remember when I was in high school and, like 50 of us hung around together. And, we go to the football games and we come back here to my house and we'd have pizza and, we'd watch Saturday Night Live together. I mean, what a
Yeah.
great group of friends. And I still have a lot of those still, the same friends from many years ago. It's just,
Me too.
Hawthorne is a good town.
Yeah,
It's a
really
good
good
town.
town.
Yeah.
And my mom, we were the house that everybody came to because my mom loved to cook for everyone. So everybody liked that. So they would come over and eat and enjoy. And so I have really great memories, with my parents. And I have 3 sons. They're
Ooh.
all grown up and on their own. Dylan went to Montclair, and he's a music teacher. Jesse, my son Jesse, is out west traveling, and he does solar installations on
Wow.
RVs. My oldest is a web developer, and so I homeschooled them for many years. So they're kind of free spirits.
Wow.
So they kind of did their own thing, their own way, and they're each unique individuals. I'm so proud of all of them, and that's pretty much my background.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Ginny, tell us a little bit. I mean, I know, but Linda and Kathleen and this new audience doesn't know too much about your,
Well, I was not born in New York because my dad was in the service, but I grew up on Long Island. My earlier years in Glen Cove on the North Shore, and then high school in Mineola. I now live in Belrose, which I realize is like 2 miles from my high school. So you kind of gravitate back to the same little area. In
yes,
high
that's
school,
true.
yeah, you
That's
just
true
kind
for
of
all of us.
Belrose is in Queens, but we're like right on the Nassau border. So it's a like suburban. This house was built in 1939. So it's an old, kind of nice old neighborhood. High school was like music and theater. I got into country music and folk music, played redneck bars all over Long Island for a few years. Lived out of state for a little bit. Came back to New York, studied belly dancing, we did Lincoln Center and Museum of Modern Art and Museum of Natural History. We danced all over. It was just, and then I had a volunteer group for 25 years, and we worked with the recreational therapy departments at Mount Sinai and NYU Rusk and senior centers and nursing homes and all kinds of, and it was just totally volunteer. And that kind of took me along through that whole mindset. Unfortunately, well, maybe not so much unfortunately, 2009, I had a stroke. It was not a big stroke. I had an aphasia. Discovered I have something called fibromuscular dysplasia, which in my carotid arteries, if you saw an x-ray, it would be like the artery swells and narrows. And we believe that a small clot got caught in there, got loose into my brain. So I always say that was kind of my stroke of luck, because if that had not been discovered then, it could have been a lot worse later on down the road. Then I became involved with a senior pageant organization called New York Senior America. And through one of the ladies there, who I guess knew Renee, that was Donna Dean. I guess, I don't know how you connected with Donna Dean, Renee, but she told me about,
Judy.
oh, maybe through Judy Marlowe. Told me about the telethon, the first telethon, and I said, oh, I had a stroke. I want to be on. And Renee and I met, and we've been working together. Slowly got to know each other, and working closer and closer together for quite a few years now. So that's how we all kind of came to be together on it.
There's so many good people in the world. There's so many good, caring people that really just go above and beyond. And it's not a 9-to-5 job that we all work. It's just to service and to really be there for for people. Kathleen, I want to go back
Yes.
to why you chose nursing. What led you to choose nursing? Because you have the world is at your fingertips when you're in college.
You really do. You really do. You know, I hate to say this, nursing was not my first choice. It wasn't why I went to college in the first place. I was a very athletic young lady in high school. I went to Wayne Hills High School. I graduated in 1986, a long time ago. And I originally went for exercise science. And exercise science is great. I worked in cardiac rehab. I wanted to work in more of the clinical area of cardiac rehab, but I saw that I really couldn't go that much further without a nurse overseeing what I was doing, making up exercise prescriptions for different cardiac diagnoses for different patients. So I was young enough. So I went back to school and finished my BSN in about 2.5 years because I already had my sciences. And I worked in St. Joe's Patterson on the cardiac unit for
Wow.
maybe about 3 years or so.
The one in Wayne or the one in Patterson?
The one in Patterson.
Patterson.
And then
Good
from there,
hospital.
yeah, it really is. Trauma hospital. If you're going to
Yeah.
learn, you're going to learn in a trauma hospital like St. Joe's or Morristown, Valley,
Yeah.
Hackensack. They're all wonderful. We have them all at our fingertips.
Yeah.
I do cherish the time that I spent there. I learned a lot. I saw bad things and I saw very good things. I remember seeing a couple. I will never forget this. They were married 75 years, okay, and the wife had a heart attack. They never spent a night without each other in the room. And the husband was in the hallway. I just remember, not that I'm a hero or anything, I was running around, barely had time to go to the bathroom. I just remember as a young nurse. And I just saw him. He was just, geez, I think it was about, they got married very young. They got married around 16. So he was around maybe 93-ish at the
Oh my
time.
God.
And they never spent a night alone. And I went and got him a cot so he could stay by his wife. And he stayed there for a couple of nights until she passed away. And after I saw that I could help him in such a way, which you didn't even know, when these opportunities come up, or, a special opportunity like this to come to help somebody like that. It was so refreshing and rewarding to me
Yeah.
that I was so happy that I did become a nurse because, like I said, it wasn't my first choice. And
Right.
not that he impacted me, well, he impacted me more than I impacted him.
Right.
So
But
I'll
you know
never
what?
forget that.
But people, I mean, that wasn't your job to get him a cop. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
right,
You went above and beyond
right.
because
Well,
you saw the whole picture,
they
right?
weren't happy with me. My boss was not happy with me. She goes, "This is not allowed." I go, come on. And she looked in the room. She goes,
Yeah.
"Okay." She
Yeah.
goes, but she was going to write me up for it. But I said, "Listen, you do what you got to do."
Yeah.
But
And you did what you had to do because you
right,
weren't going to be the one that broke that guy's heart and
right,
made him die before her. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like, you mean you saw the whole picture and you were protected. You were protected.
Yes, yes. So, like I said, it wasn't my first love. I was interested in exercise, and then the exercise science could only take me so far, so that I decided to go into nursing, and I worked with the cardiac patients for a while in St. Joe's, and then from there, like you said, when you become a nurse, you have the world at your fingertips. I did so many different things. I continued in cardiac rehab at St. Joe's in Patterson. Then I was a care manager there. And then I worked actually for Lakeland Healthcare Center as a nurse liaison.
Oh, wow.
With Yeah, I worked there for a while. Did home care before visiting angels a long time ago.
Mm.
I worked at Cigna Insurance as
Wow.
a care manager on the phone in
Wow.
Jersey City. The commute was hard though, but I did it. I did like it. And then I've been at Visiting Angels for the past 7 years.
Wow. That's
So I
incredible.
really do enjoy the nursing, and I'm so happy that I did move forward with it because
Wow.
it's not to put down any other major. It was one of the toughest things I've ever done, other
Yeah.
than raising kids.
I know, like I can't even imagine. And the truth is, and I know this from taking real estate classes, that some of
Yes,
the stuff that you do in the classroom has nothing to do with what you do
that's right.
in the hospital.
That's
Like
right.
you have to learn all that stuff, but then you have to learn everything hands-on.
You need hands-on, you need, like, for me, it would be called the clinical,
Yeah.
you need to be out in the field to
Yeah,
learn on your own and
Yeah.
see what other people are teaching you.
yeah,
So every day is a learning experience. Whenever
Yeah.
I'm out in the field with a patient and a caregiver, I learn something new every day, and I'll say, I go, oh, that's what I learned for today.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's very challenging, but it's a welcome challenge.
Wow,
So
wow, that's
it's
incredible.
yeah.
That's incredible. Linda, share a little bit about, what path you were on, because you did homeschool your children. So when they were in school, were you working? What were you?
No, no. Going all the way back to, I originally went to school for marketing and management, worked in, retail, buying and doing marketing. Then I worked for a newspaper, so I did some sales and marketing there. I was a real estate agent, so I loved marketing. I really did love marketing. I didn't love the hours sometimes, so I went into banking because I wanted banker's hours. I wanted to go and, spend the weekend with my friends. And
Yeah,
so I kind of went into banking, worked at Powerfly Savings in Hasbrook Heights, and eventually moved to Florida, and met my husband, our kids, and got a job at a bank there. So I was in banking for quite a few years, off and on, probably about 23 years altogether.
wow, wow,
But I always wanted to get back to marketing because that's what I really enjoyed. Naturally, I just love, if I love a product, if I love a service, if I love a
right.
charity, I like to get the word out naturally. That's just what I do. So I wanted to get back to that. So I went back to school and graduated with a digital marketing degree in 2017
Wow.
because everything about marketing had changed. So everything I learned didn't do me
Old.
any
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
So I learned a lot and then started looking for a job. At the same time, my dad was very sick. He had been diagnosed with Parkinson's eventually, but at first they didn't know what happened. He contracted Guillain-Barré syndrome. I'm probably saying that wrong. But
What
it's
is
when
that?
you're paralyzed.
Wow.
Yeah, completely paralyzed. And it's a virus caused by a virus. Some people recover, some people don't. They do, some kind of shock treatment to your nerve endings. So at first they thought maybe that's what, caused the problems that my father was having with shaking and Parkinson-like symptoms. But it turned out that he really did have Parkinson's and he got very, very sick. My sister and I didn't realize it at first. We would come and visit my parents, and then we started noticing that, my dad was a handful for my mom. And then he had a fall and fractured his hip. And after that, we knew that he needed care, but we didn't know anything about home care or how it all worked. And, that journey of trying to find care and who do you go to, who do you trust,
Yeah,
had
yeah.
some not so great caregiver experiences before we got a good caregiver. So that whole walk made me start looking for jobs in marketing in healthcare, in home care, where I wouldn't have never have looked at that in the past. I was
Because
never interested
it's
in that.
important stuff. It is really important stuff, to that someone that you love is going to be cared for and that you trust them to care for them. It's
It's
just,
huge. Yeah, it's a huge thing to trust somebody with your loved one, and know that they're in the house with them. And, it really requires a lot of trust. So when I saw the job for Visiting Angels, I thought, you know what, I can help people navigate that journey, and connect to care. So, I applied and got the job. I've been doing it for about a little over 3 years.
so, I mean, how did you, and Ginny, I'm going to get to you because I want to know your career history so you can feed into the conversation. But, I know you went for the job, but how did you know that this was the location that was going to care for people? Because, the front end, you're selling it, but really it's the back end, like Kathleen, like and how did you meet Kathleen? Like, you know, like you got to trust that your people are going to do the work that you're selling. So how did you get to know that?
Well, you know, starting a new job, you really don't know. I was impressed with Jesse, the owner and director of our Visiting Angels office. He seemed like he was a kind, caring man. He was, really committed to providing great care for our clients. But of course, it took, meeting the team and seeing how they really are all committed to providing really, quality care for our clients. They really care about them, on a personal level. Kathy, at our meeting, she's always remarking about how our clients are like as people, and I love that. They're human beings, they're not just a case or a client. They're human beings. They have feelings, they have emotions, and I like the way that we really cater to that. We work with them as human beings, not just as clients. And I think our team really does have that heart, and our caregivers to care for our clients in the best possible way.
And I mean, because for example, like Kathleen at the hospital went above and beyond and risked her job or getting written up to really care for the couple,
Right.
does your company allow that kind of interaction? Because the truth is you're going to get involved with the people you work with your clients. You have to care about them. You have to be able to love them in some fashion. You have to become part of their family to really make it work. You have to. I mean,
Yeah.
even with me at my job, like I have to go above and beyond. That's who I am, and that's what I want them to know. Like I'm there, no matter what, I'm there. So, are you guys permitted to go that extra mile without, getting a reprimanding? Kathleen, you can answer that because I know you're on that end as well more.
Absolutely. Like Linda said, we have a director who is extremely caring and involved in overseeing every single case that we have. If there's something that we have to do that is beyond, for instance, there are many patients or clients that we have that have very little to no support system, no family. They'll just have that one neighbor that is nice enough to check in on them, weekly or a few times a week. Every now and then you'll have that special neighbor that will come in daily. And they need a hospital bed. And Jesse has come in with the team to put the hospital bed together.
Right.
Go grocery shopping with somebody. Like I look in somebody's refrigerator and I'm like, wow, this guy came home. He's paying somebody to go get him food, across the street.
Yeah.
We just went and just got him groceries and filled up his refrigerator. There's many, many people that are out there alone. And we really do try to show compassion as much as we can, restore their hope, and try to give them as much autonomy and independence as possible within their home environment. They want to be at home. They don't want to be in a subacute facility or do anything like that. So we do everything possible we can for them.
Yeah, to make it work. To make it work. Because the truth is, like, there's nobody else there, that it really is you and that person alone that, and it breaks my heart. And I keep going back to, my stroke at 26 years old. And just the fact that it could have been me, at 26,
Right.
so that always, passes by my eyes, so that I remember of, what we need to do in life and how we need to be compassionate, empathetic, and really care about other people. Because it matters. It matters. People matter. Life matters. Life is a gift.
You see patients and have needs, and you can't just turn your back. We do the best we can.
No. So, Jenny, feed into this a little bit, like, because I know, like, have you ever worked with any caregivers or anything along that fashion?
No, not on a one-to-one basis. I think the closest I can get is my dance troupe with Middle Eastern. We were belly dancers. And when we would go to Mount Sinai or wherever the hospitals or whatever, we brought color and brightness and a little bit of life. We saved a couple of people along the way. I mean, when we started out, it was, okay, we're going to make people smile a little bit. And then we had a couple of experiences. We had at Creedmoor, we had the geriatrics at Creedmoor, mental facility. They had a gentleman there who was basically catatonic.
What's catatonic?
He was unconscious. He responded to nothing. He was just there. They didn't know if he could see or hear or anything. We used to do a 40-minute show. And, we said because we were there a couple of times, and we said to the director, why do you have us back? She said, these people have an attention span of 4 minutes. They will sit for 40 minutes. And it was like, why? Because they're pretty women in bright costumes, and Middle Eastern music is very stimulating. It's heartbeat rhythm.
Right.
So this one particular man, they wheeled him in. They discovered that they had misdiagnosed his condition. They had him on the wrong treatment, and they brought him out of whatever state he was in. And that was our first kick to say, wait a minute, this is something better. We learned that dance therapy is like music therapy. It opens neural pathways in the brain. One other very, very incident that stands out in my mind, there was a young fellow from Harlem. This was at Mount Sinai Hospital. He was, I don't know, 16, 17 years old. He'd been in an accident, quadriplegic for life. He was depressed. He wouldn't come out of his room. We were going in for a small show. We had this little tiny room we used to dance in. They had one of those old desk lamps that with those and they would turn that up. That was our spotlight. we worked in some really strange, but it was for the patients. So they said, you're going to this show. They put him in his wheelchair. They brought him in, and they said to us ahead of time, just make a little extra fuss over this guy. So the girls that had veils wrapped the veils around him and all of this. And we finished our show, and we were back in our room changing. And the woman who was the director at the time came. She had tears in her eyes. I said, what's going on? She said, he smiled for the first time since he's been here.
Wow.
The show that we did kicked him out of the depression. They had him, eventually he went to a halfway house to learn to function on his own. And we said, this didn't happen all the time, but we had several these incidents that happened that, this was touching someone.
Yeah.
And it really, and we didn't make any money. We would sometimes get $5 for subway fare or something,
Yeah.
It was, we supported ourselves, but it was that kind of reaction, or that kind of, there was the people at the rehab people at Mount Sinai were very good. And there was one older man, and they would watch, and they said, when we were finished, he was tapping his finger on the edge of the chair. They said, that is the most movement we've seen from that man since he's been here.
Wow.
So, that's my connection to helping people.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I got beyond that, when I mentioned the New York Senior America, it's a pageant. I was Miss New York Senior America 2013. Woohoo! Crown and sash and the whole thing. And actually, we're going down again the first week in October, because we're part of the national pageant system. So they're national pageant. We're going down with our queen in October in Atlantic City. I got into that organization because they did showcases. And I got to be part of that group at assisted facilities and nursing homes and everything. And at the end of every show, we would tell people, we would go down the line, our name and how old we were. We were always very proud. We never hedged about how old we are. I am 77.
I'm 62.
There you go. And we had women that were, in their 90s, 80s, 90s. We have a dance line and the whole thing. And we would hear people afterwards say, this is an inspiration. One lady would hear and say, these women are all older than me and I look terrible. I'm going to go get my hair done. Just something, the purpose is to present a positive image of aging. And this is what we work at. So that was the hook that got me into the whole organization. So still have a little bit going on there.
Yeah, they're a great organization. It's
And
a
I can
great
still do a bare midriff in my costume. So the costumes don't fit exactly. The belts aren't as low as they used to be, but I can still rock a bare belly.
Nice.
Jenny. So if someone should need the services of visiting angels, like how do they go about it? Like what do they need to do? And how do they get to choose who's on the team? Do they meet people? Because sometimes people don't jive with people. So I'm gonna let you go first, Linda. I mean, if they need the service, I mean, it's really hard, I know. And the decision between staying home and going into a care facility, it depends on the person and depends on the situation because, severity, I would imagine. So how do you go about doing that, Linda? I'm just curious.
So they can, call our office, or sometimes I encounter seniors in the community, that come up to me and want to know more. And we try to set up a consultation. A free consultation is the best way. If we can get out to see them in their home environment, meet them, see what the needs are, then we can best assess, what kind of care they would need, who would be the best caregiver, what hours would be best. So that's, really the best way for us to proceed. But they can call our office. They can go on our website. And
What's the just give the number? I'll post it on the website, but give the number as well.
it's 973-839-3761. That's our office number.
Now, you guys Ginny knows about you guys in Long Island. Are you around the country?
Visiting Angels is around the country and even in a couple of other countries. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. And how long has it been around, just for longevity?
Visiting Angels, the headquarters, the main, they started in the late 90s.
Wow.
Yeah. So back when, really there were hardly any home care agencies. They started then. They saw a real need for care. Care was not, great in the nursing homes, and even the home care agencies that there weren't very, weren't regulated. And so they saw a real need and they started Visiting Angels. And then our office has been around since 2003. And it was owned by a couple that retired, and then Jesse, the current owner, took over.
So each office is owned privately? Does someone can buy the office and whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do they have to have, this is something I don't even know about, do they have to have, can anybody buy, or do they have to have education and certificates in that area? Like, do you have to be a nurse? Can you be a millionaire and just buy that? I'm just like, what are there rules to be able to purchase?
Well, if I may, to interject, you do have to have a nurse to run the place, to run Visiting Angels, a home care agency.
Is that what you do, Kathleen? Are you the director?
I'm the director of nursing. And we have about 100 caregivers on staff. Maybe not all working at the same time, but right now we have probably near 70 working at the same time. And the caregivers have their own license. All right, they're certified home health aide license, and then they work under the umbrella of my RN license, which is you have to have a Bachelor of Science in nursing. All right, so when we start a case, for instance, I will go in with the caregiver, and this is after the contract has been signed and everybody assessed the environment to make sure it's a good fit, picking the caregiver. Then I will go in on the set time while the caregiver is there with the client. And sometimes they have nobody, and sometimes they have, one person there or a big family. And I'll do my nurse assessment. I'll do my medical history. I'll do my physical assessment on them. I always ask them if they have an advance directive. If they don't know what that is, I let them know what that is. It's not a will. It's not a DNR. It's just what your wishes are in writing. if you can't speak for yourself, if something happens to you,
Right.
and who has a copy of that. And if their pressure is high, the lungs are not clear, they're having pain somewhere, there's a wound somewhere, I will follow up with the doctor or have the family do so. We are a non-medical agency, which means that I don't work under doctor's orders per se.
Right.
All right, so I really try to advise the patient or the family. If they can't, like I said, I will jump in and do what I feel that I can do without the doctor's orders. If not, like we've been known to bring the patient right to the ER too. Because we're like, you cannot stay home. This is not safe.
Yeah.
We do the best we can. We try to get a caregiver that is the best fit for their needs and their personality. So, there's different caregivers. We have live-ins, we have companionship caregivers. We even have some hospice cases. We do have some stroke patients. So, I write up the care plan according to what their diagnosis is and what their needs are. And I go over it with the patient, the family, and the caregiver. And I follow up with a phone call every 30 days, and then I see them every 60 days.
Okay. That's good. That's very, what's the word I'm looking? It gives you a lot of trust in the process, that it's not like they're just buying, you're paying, and that's it. Like you're actually following up. You care about them. You want to make sure that everything's going smoothly and correctly. And so that adds a lot of confidence to someone, because the truth is life has to go on. I'll never forget, when I was a part of all the recovery groups, and and I used to go to them, and and people used to talk about the strokes for a few minutes, and then it went right to insurance, and it went right to the fact that they're on the phone at work, and that their lunch hour, they got to be on the phone. And so to be able to find trust in someone that's going to be there while you have to work and live your life, because PSC&G doesn't get paid because somebody is just had a medical, they don't care, like
No,
you understand it, but I'm just saying, like, it's very hard. Life is hard,
It is very hard. It is very hard. And we are followed and looked over by the state of New Jersey. Everything I do is audited by the state. So, we make sure that all our paperwork is done in a timely manner when we're supposed to see everybody.
Right.
And, if there's any medical questions or medical phone calls or a need, if I must go in before the time I'm due, I will go in.
Right.
Okay.
That's good.
So we do the best we can with it. And we always try to find a caregiver, like I said before, which is a good fit for their situation and what their interests are.
Well, that's what you just said. You said you go in and evaluate them, which is, and it's not really, it's an evaluation, but it's more like a personality. Like you want to make sure that
yeah, because there's so often they don't know what they're looking for.
Right.
And this is the experience I had. I just know that my mom can't take care of my dad anymore.
Right.
What do I need? What hours do I need? I have no idea.
Right.
So this is what we face a lot. So a consultation helps us to get in and talk through it with them in a conversational way, get some information, find out what their daily routine is and who's here during, when you get up in the morning, and how family comes into play. And then we can determine what help is needed. But that consultation is a really great way to, to start out and just explore and what the needs are. There's no obligation, so it's they don't have to go ahead if they decide not to, but I think everybody can benefit from it. So I really try to persuade people to allow us to come and do that for them, give them the knowledge.
It's a free consultation.
That's perfect. That's good, because I want to ask you a question after Ginny shares.
Do you work with insurance companies? Are you paid by insurance, or is it all paid privately?
That was my question.
It's really paid. It's paid privately. We do have veterans benefits too. Veterans will get benefits
Medicare or Medicaid or any of that doesn't
long-term care insurance, but no, Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare does not cover it because we're not medical.
What about the advance, the Medicare advance, the Part C?
There may be some benefits there, I've heard,
Yeah.
but you have to be contracted with them to
Okay,
accept
generally.
them, and we're not. So,
Okay, understood.
yeah, yeah.
So what you just said, you take, what's it called? What kind of insurance do you?
Long-term care
Long-term
insurance,
care
Ah.
insurance.
which is really important for
Yes.
people to
Okay.
have,
Yes.
but people
Yes.
don't, you know,
Yes.
some people have it and don't even realize they have. So,
I actually have it because when I was on this journey and doing a softball marathon, Tracy Lawrence, I don't know if anybody knows Tracy Lawrence. She passed away from COVID a few years ago. She was a dear friend of mine. She actually, we're at my softball marathon, and I know it was a divine intervention. She was telling me what I needed, and she actually, I trusted her that she was a musician. I trusted her, and she came over, and I purchased the long-term insurance,
mhm.
and that's why I have gone it. But I want to do a show on that, Ginny. I want to make sure we do a show on that because, and actually, I'm drawing a blank. He's on Diane's group. I drawn a blank. But he's just on a show a few weeks ago.
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank.
I
And
know who you mean, and I can't think of his name
yes,
either.
I actually, what we're going to do is him and I'll get his name. Him and I are going to start to go to colleges and share with young people that they have to set themselves up. They got to set themselves up because you don't think it's going to happen. And the younger you buy it, the cheaper it is, and you set yourself up for life. So
It can be expensive. And my understanding is long-term care insurance can get to be pretty pricey.
Yes. But when you're younger, like
Yeah.
Renee said, the younger you are, the less expensive it is. And if you have it in place, then you won't have that dilemma when your resources are, maybe
Right.
more limited when you get older.
I mean, I have, yeah. I mean, that's so. I really want to have a show on that because I think it's important. Because if you want to be able to, it's options, and you want to be able to not go. I can't afford visiting angels, like,
Right.
because where am I going to get the money? You know what I'm saying? Or at least I'm set up to, if that's an option that my girls have for me, that it's there. So that's really a great option for everybody. I want to let you know it's 7:49. We've been talking for 49 minutes, and I told you it would go really, really fast. But I do want to talk about the Twin Wish Foundation.
Twilight Wish.
Few minutes, but I want to give you the opportunity, each of you, to, if there's any pinpoint, really important bullet points that you want to share about visiting angels, because it really sounds, I always knew it was, but it sounds like a really great option for people to invest in when they need somebody, because it's almost like, when you have young children and you got to get a babysitter,
Right.
need somebody you trust and you love, and you can honestly feel comfortable. It'll just make your life so much better. And this visiting angels just sounds like the perfect opportunity. So Kathleen, go first, and then we'll have Linda share.
Well, it really does. Visiting Angels really provides a service where it will give a reprieve for their caregiver.
Yes.
For the husband of the wife of the husband, the daughter, the son. Sometimes we just have 4 hours a day, twice a week. Just to have companionship, bring to the doctor's office.
Yes.
Go grocery shopping. They'll go out and have lunch. Make sure they're taking their medications. A lot of people won't shower unless somebody's outside the bathroom door, but they don't want them in.
Right.
Something just as simple like that.
Right.
We've had people who have become great friends. We've had cases for 5 to 7 years, and they're part of the family.
Yeah.
So it really is, when it works out and the rapport works well, it really does. And most of the time it does.
Yeah. It's incredible. Thank you, Kathleen. How about you, Linda? What is your not your pitch, your heartfelt information to provide to everybody, and to call you to have a free consultation to really get to know you guys, because the truth is you don't have to wait for somebody to be sick. You
Right.
could start that relationship prior to them getting sick. That's why Diane always has these networking events and these senior events, because she wants everybody to get to know everybody, because eventually the truth is we're all going to need each other. We're all going to need something like this. We're going to need it. So to have it planned out already and information for you just makes everyone's life so much better. And the truth is that these senior networking events really should go to the families as well, because the families are the ones that are going to have to find and approve and really, get to know you guys. So it's really important. So again,
I would say that, being proactive is so important. Not waiting till a crisis, not waiting for the fall or, your loved one to decline because they've been home alone and when they shouldn't have been. Waiting never solves anything.
yeah,
So, and, just finding out what options are available, even if you're just starting out and you have no idea what you want to do, at least taking the time to, come to us and allow us to have that free consultation, seek out other options, do something, because I think seniors feel like, home care somehow or a caregiver in their home will take away their independence, when really it's going to give their independence back to them, because
yeah,
now they can stay home
yeah,
and they can still bake if they like to bake, with a little help from a caregiver, maybe reaching those ingredients that are, not a good idea to get on the ladder and reach, or,
yeah.
it'll enable them to get out and walk with somebody with them in case, anything happens. They can remain independent and have a personal assistant, a companion, a caregiver, somebody to care for them, and have a really great situation, for the most part. Of course, it doesn't always work out. Sometimes there's personality conflicts, but we can always try a different caregiver,
Right,
So
right.
there's nothing to fear. It doesn't hurt to try, to get the help you need.
Yeah,
That's really what I'm always telling senior communities when we do, presentations. Don't wait until something happens.
yeah,
If you know you need help, get it now. Get it before
yeah,
something happens, and you can continue this great life that you have. You can
yeah,
continue coming to the senior center and playing bingo and doing all the things you love.
yeah.
But one fall, if you're seriously injured, could change all that. And
And
then
and as you get older, your bones get more fragile,
right.
so the possibility of you having more severe can really, really traumatize your life. So
We don't bounce
You have less
anymore
choice.
when we fall.
what'd you say, Linda? I heard you, Jenny. That's
Oh,
good.
sorry. I just said then, once something happens, then you have less choices, really, not more, So you're better off. You have more choices now. You can decide what you want to do, but definitely don't bury your head in the sand, deal with it. Look into things, decide how you can make things better, and don't wait for something to happen.
Wow, that's incredible. Ginny, you had brought to me something, the Twilight Wish Foundation. And it was a couple months
Couple
ago.
of years ago, it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and then I just found out that Linda's involved with that. Tell me what you know about it, and then I'm gonna have Linda feed into it. And we only have 5 minutes more left, so I can't believe how short of time we have left. And so it's been good though, right? It's just been conversational. It hasn't
It's been great.
yeah,
It's been great.
yeah, it hasn't been like so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ginny.
Very quickly, the pageant we had 2 years ago, one of our contestants works in an assisted facility, and she had, I don't know, 20 or 25 of the residents that she wanted to come to see her compete in this pageant, but had no way to get them there and whatever. And I don't know, she's just an amazing person. She found the Twilight Wish, and not only did they provide the bus for them, but they purchased all of the tickets for like 25 of the residents, some of the walkers or whatever, to be there to support her. And they covered the whole thing. I know that there was something else that I was over there. Then she was funny. She had her own little pageant for the people there in her facility. And Twilight Wish gave one of the contestants an electric piano. She had played piano. She was, I think, a Juilliard graduate when she was younger. And this was an electronic that she could put headphones on, you know, and not disturb anyone else. That was a gift. So I don't know how I know that there's a very long application. I've seen the application, but it seemed that they worked through to get this large group thing going. So maybe you guys can give us a little bit more information on how to work through to them.
Linda, how are you involved with them? Because I know you're partner with them, right? You're a supporter of them. How are
I'm
you
actually,
involved with
yeah,
them?
I'm on the committee. Patty Goldfarb brought it to my attention, to a few of us, a few, let's see, last year, actually it was. So there used to be a New Jersey chapter and it was let go. The people, you know, quit. So she said, how would you like to start a chapter of Twilight Wish here in New Jersey? So I didn't know anything about it. And as she, you know, shared with me what it was all about, I was so excited. I thought, what a great, you know, positive thing to
Yes.
provide, you know, wishes. They can be special needs like hearing aids or a lift chair. They can be, you know, somebody that wants a last wish because they don't have, you know, they have a limited time to live. Or it could be someone that just wanted, they have a dream. They've always wanted something, to do something, and they haven't been able to do it yet. And they're, you know, we can enable them to do that. Things like riding a motorcycle or going out on a motorboat, or it could be anything, you know. So we try to accommodate those wishes. And to do that, obviously, we need in-kind donations, people to just volunteer time, products, you know, and sometimes just asking. They're so willing to do it. And then, of course, we want to raise support, so we have the money to do an amazing wish like Ginny
Right.
was talking about, you know, buy tickets for a group of people and take them to a game or to a dance or whatever it is that their wish is. So we had our first kickoff fundraiser at the Cottage House in Pequannock. It went really well. And I'm really excited about getting this ball rolling. But there's 4 of us on the committee. We're looking for volunteers. We're looking for people to get involved. You know, you tell us what you can do, what you think, how you think you can help. And we would really like to get some applications for wishes as well as volunteers and support, you know, trying to get some
Wow.
support.
It's so incredible. That's, you know, that's a great thing. It's you know, it's like the Make-A-Wish, you know, for seniors. And I'm a senior, so you know, I'm 62. I'm happy to be a senior, you know. So it's good, you know. It's incredible that people give, and people do give. People do give. People, you got to ask. You just have to. I mean, for something like that is such an incredible wish to make somebody happy. You had specific story on Facebook about one of the wishes, and then he passed away or something after that.
Yeah.
Quick, tell us about that.
Okay, that was the first wish that I got involved in, and so it was Francois from our office was a caregiver for this couple, and the woman wanted a wish. Her husband loved the Rascals, the band The Rascals. He
Yeah.
really wanted to meet the lead singer, to be able to tell him how much their music had meant to him. So this was the wish that I got, and I thought, how will I accomplish this? I don't even know where to start, but I called their publicist and she was very helpful. And she said, yeah, we can make this happen. Let me talk to the band. Let's see what we can do. So they were doing a concert down at Seaside Heights, and they arranged a whole VIP for him and his wife and his daughter. They have a special needs daughter that they've raised, and she's an adult now, but she still lives with them. So they were trying to make all these arrangements to make all that happen. And unfortunately, he got really sick and he wasn't able to make that. Marie, his wife, thought it would be too much for him. But Felix, the lead singer, was able to do a personal birthday video for him and sent him, it was his birthday, and sent him this huge basket of
Oh my gosh.
t-shirts for the whole family, CDs, memorabilia.
Oh,
And as he opened this basket of gifts, he said, "Oh, the Rascals." He was so excited. And he said, "Marie, thank you, so much." He thought his wife had done this. And at the end of opening all the gifts, she said, "Don, this was not from me." And he said, "What do you mean? Who's it from?" And he said, "This is from Felix." And Felix is the lead singer, Felix Cavalieri of the Rascals. And he said, "From Felix?" And he just started crying. And he was just so overwhelmed with joy. And then she said, "Here's a video that he made for you," and they played the video for him. And it was Felix that just said, "Happy birthday." I'll have to send this video to you. You
Yeah.
have to see it.
Yeah.
He was so
nice.
so touched and said it was the best birthday of his entire life. He wasn't expected to pass, like, he was very sick, but he ended up, he did pass a couple months after that. And he said that was his very favorite birthday. He was so glad to be able to, not only did that happen, but he was able to communicate how much he loved their music. He made some videos for them and sent it to the Rascals. They were able to
Awesome.
get that message. He wanted to send that message to them. Like, your music has meant so much to me. I want you to know this. It was a wish that he had. And we were
Wow.
able to do it. And that was my first wish. And no money, it didn't cost anything. The band was more than willing to do it all. And it was amazing experience for me. And I got to know Marie, his wife, and I still call her. And it was just amazing.
Wow, that's incredible. What a great show. What a great show. You guys are incredible. And I hope that, this show brings some light to everybody, that there are options out there, and to really consider visiting angels. And I'm glad that you're in Diane's group and that we've connected. And I'll see you on the 3rd, Linda. You're coming to our comedy night. And
Very excited about
I
it.
get to open up and sing. And if you ever need a DJ or singer or whatever for anything for that Make-A-Wish, or the Twilight Wish, I'm in. Whatever you need
Thank
help.
you. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Ginny, do you have any last words for everybody?
I'm very happy to hear a little bit more about visiting angels. I don't know, Linda, if you have had anything to do with the TV ads that came up within the last couple of years, but that's, I know about you, but now I know a little bit more in depth about, really the care that you take to be sure that you have the right people, the right help for the right people. So that makes me feel very good. And I would not hesitate to recommend your organization to anyone that I knew that, needed that kind of help.
Thank you. Yes. And we counted in honor, and we would try to take the very best care of them.
Yes. Kathleen, do you have any last words?
No, just thank you very much for having me on. And Visiting Angels really does help the older population, especially the shut-ins, from the social isolation. They can't get out of their homes. So, our caregivers will bring them out, and they really thrive. They thrive. They come out of their depression. It lowers their anxiety by showing somebody just simple compassion and kindness. So
I was going to say, my father, a part-time job he got when he retired was for Meals on Wheels. And he used to love to go bring the meals and sit down and talk to each individual. He just thrived on that. It brought him so much joy, and loved him. He would sit and chat with them, and oh my God, he loved it. It was a good job for my dad. It was a good job for my dad. Thank you so much, both of you, all three of you. Thank you so much for joining us on a weekday night. I know it's a little bit hard. And please come back in a few months just so we can continue this conversation, see where everybody is. Thank you so much, Ginny. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Diane, for everything, for being you and for connecting us, and for all the unselfish work that you do in the world. It really is heartfelt. We're going to close out. Have a wonderful day. Have a stroke of luck in your life. And on 3, we always blow kisses if you feel comfortable. 1, 2, 3. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.